Hadi almas alatfi wajihi, and welcome to Shift+F1, a podcast about speedy race cars. That, of course, is Qatari Arabic, meaning the issue is in his face, meaning he is responsible for the issues. A lot of issues for McLaren in their faces. One in particular, which we'll, of course, get to when we talk about the conclusion of the Las Vegas Grand Prix. I'm Drew Scanlon, joining me, Danny O'Dwyer. How's your face,
My
Danny?
face has been better. We had some people over last night for, I don't know what happened. There were like some kids. Some of my daughter's friends came over, and then the parents came over, and then bottles of wine got opened. And
Oh, no.
yeah, so it's a little bit too hungover for a Tuesday morning, I'll be completely honest. But hey, you know what? I'm excited because I was up late with the Discord watching the Grand Prix, and then I said, night, everyone. I believe I said, much like the Psalm, it was a pleasure to serve with you all for this not particularly enjoyable experience.
Interesting. Rob is also joining us. Rob Zachney. How are you, Rob?
Doing a little better. I didn't stay up late with under-socialized parents going into multiple bottles of wine. So I'm doing fine.
Great. No World War I battlefields for you.
I mean, they're never far from mine.
If you are new to this podcast, a very warm welcome to you. And if you are new to Formula One itself, we recommend listening to our preseason primer episode, which assumes no prior F1 knowledge and explains how the sport works and who everybody is. So if you'd like to go back and listen to that, it's episode 298. You could just get completely caught up on F1 and binge through this entire podcast season and be ready for the new one when it starts in, March?
Right. And all the twists and turns we've had this year, including this race.
Indeed. Also, the show would not be possible without our audience over at patreon.com/shiftf1, where every month we release ad-free versions of the pod early for patrons, along with bonus podcasts and videos exclusively for those patrons that cover racing documentaries and films, F1 video games, experiments with other racing series, and a lot of weird things. So if you would like to support the show and get access to all that fun stuff, head over to patreon.com/shiftf1 or click the link in the show notes. Before I throw it to you, Danny, I did see some people going like, why don't they say experiments with other racing series. They haven't done a Patreon episode about one of those in a while. It has been a while. They take a lot of prep work. And we've touched on a lot of the other racing series. So I would throw it to the patrons and say, hey, if there is one in particular you'd want us to cover, let us know.
We don't necessarily, some of them, we don't necessarily want to like just relitigate if that's,
Right.
Yeah, for sure. If there's, shoot us a DM over on Patreon, spam me in the Discord. We'd love to know.
What do we have going on this month in Patreon land?
Well, the thing that all the patrons have been asking us for, a review of Herbie the Love Bug.
Clamoring.
Absolutely.
One might say.
Yes, the hottest movie out there right now. Not the 2000s era version with what's her name again? Lindsay Lohan. Not that one. We're watching the classic, which I believe is just called The Love Bug. Is that right?
That's right.
Okay, yeah.
1968's The Love
Which
Bug.
we did Christine, so we figured we'd flip the story on its head.
I mean, having just watched The Love Bug, there are some parallels.
Oh, nice.
Which I'm excited to talk to you guys about.
I watched Home Alone with my wife and daughter over the weekend, and one of the characters from that movie is in Christine.
Of course.
I would argue he looks older in Christine, even though it was like 30 years previous. He looks rougher in Christine. Let's say that. Which saying he's probably.
I also just watched that John Candy documentary.
Oh, nice.
Oh man,
Polka.
You want some feelings?
Yeah, exactly. Speaking of feelings, I feel great about all our incredible title sponsors whose name we slap on our livery every single week, especially because they keep changing their names into hilarious things. This week, shout out to all of our title sponsors: Corey Nichols, I Ching Wells, Dr. V, For Sale, Skid Plates, Very Worn, Mad and Harmony, Deange, It's a Me Ferrario, Petro States, Mojo Nixon, Get Rich O'Dai Ryan, Agave ATX, Cyphus Training, Turf SES, Michael Maves, Eccleston Yutani Corporation, Cigarettes, Telemetry Deck Racing Team, FTC, Tracy Syntax, Drew Stewart. I just have it in my head that in Prometheus. What's his name? The actor who dons himself in lots of old makeup
Yeah.
to be the head of Yutani. What's his name? Guy Pearce,
Oh,
right?
is it Ethan
Guy
Hawke?
Pearce.
Guy Pearce.
Yeah, I just think of that with Bernie Eccleston, him getting slammed by an architect, smacked across the room. Ridiculous. What was it? Where am I? Telemetry Deck Racing Team, FTC, Tracy Syntax, Drew Stewart, Red Row Consulting, Bailey Foote, Jason Chadwick, Abraham Getchell, Bunny Jerk, Snigs, HireThisWalker.com, Alex Goucher, Maxwell Tar Keyboards, Jeff Foster, Troy Stammer, William Romph, Lachlan the Maddened Man, Samurai Love Story, and Jason Kelly. Thank you all so much for your incredible sponsorship of our incredible F1 team.
Indeed. Speaking of Wayland Yutani, I saw that Predator Badlands.
Oh, was it good?
I liked it.
Okay.
I think it's a fun time.
I still haven't watched Prey.
I loved Prey.
Is that good?
Yeah, you should watch Prey.
Okay. Watch Prey.
Yeah.
They're doing lots of funky
Prey's good.
things with those movies.
Doing a lot of funky things like raining in the desert, fellas. The Grid. So moist in Q1. Oliver Behrman hits his brakes and slides for like half a kilometer. Even has time to like throw up his hands like, what? Like, what am I supposed to do here? Before gently plowing into the wall. Alex Albon crashed in the closing moments of Q1, perhaps contributing to the likes of Antonelli and Hamilton going out in Q1, though he did make it back to the pits fairly quickly. The full wets coming out, not just the intermediates. And I wonder, so usually we don't get the full wet tires because we've talked about this before, they sort of aerosolize the water on the track and turn it to fog. Didn't happen so much on this track. I wonder if it's because of there's no humidity in the air because it's the desert in Vegas. So interesting to see. But the grid shook out like this. Lando Norris on pole position with a monster lap. Even though he had a slide, and I think it was turn 12 or 14. Really, really fun on board to watch. He sort of looked strong.
There was a lot of great opposite lock happening. They had the camera set up really well for it too. It was it was a really fun qualifying. It was the rain ended up sort of becoming much less of an issue with every sector of qualifying, but it was very interesting to watch, and the timing was just tumbling at the end. Like, I think that the track evolution was pretty dramatic, so anyone who got a late run in definitely helped them out with a couple of tenths at least.
Yes, Lando 3 tenths and change over Max Verstappen in second, and then Carlos Sainz in the Williams in third. That's what we like to see in wet conditions, the leveling of the playing field, the underdogs punching above their weight.
How did Carlos rip the soul out of Albon midway through this season?
Right?
Like, the fortunes completely flipped.
Yeah,
they did.
And now you got Albon just sounding like
abject.
An absolute loser, nailing the wall, and then being like, too much talking to his engineer, and it's like, no, this ain't it.
Yeah. George Russell will line up fourth, followed by Oscar Piastri, one of the two other championship contenders. The commentators reminding us, I think, of the fact that McLaren team principal Andrea Stella commented earlier in the season that Piastri is still learning to maximize the car in low grip conditions, and that seemed to bear out in this as well. Lando looking much the stronger in qualifying. Liam Lawson will line up seventh.
Very diplomatic way for saying he bad in the rain. Aussie boy bad in the rain.
Liam Lawson 6th, Fernando Alonso 7th, Isaac Hadjar 8th, Charles Leclerc 9th, Pierre Gasly getting it into Q3 and starting 10th. Nico Hulkenberg will start 11th, followed by Lance Stroll. I was actually kind of looking forward to seeing Lance Stroll perform because I know he's like unnaturally good relative to his pace in dry conditions in the wet. But I guess there was some sort of miscommunication with his pit or something, and he didn't get the space that he wanted on track. He lines up 12th. Esteban Ocon 13th, Oliver Behrman 14th, Franco Colapinto in 15th. Then Alex Albon having crashed in Q1. Kimi Antonelli 17th, Bortoleto, Hamilton. His helmet this weekend just wreaking havoc on compression algorithms.
Yes, absolutely.
Just macro blocking left and right.
It looks slick. I loved it. It was like his head was made of static. It was like he was Sadako from The Ring. He was about to crawl through my television and tell me to.
I feel like there's a Metal Gear opponent.
Oh, really?
That
Yeah.
too. Yeah. Can't remember. And Yuki Tsunoda starting from the pit lane with a power unit change.
Yes, worth noting that Hamilton qualified 20th. It is his worst qualification in his entire career.
Wow. Okay. Fun
I hope
stat.
next year is good. Because
The
it's
only
not
way's
looking...
up. Baby. You know what I mean? He's got it.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, Danny, you got it. You got the start. Oh, Las Vegas. Let's
Danny
do it.
O'Dwyer with the O start in O Las Vegas. Like you said it, that's how we say it every week. Yeah, we're about to spin the roulette wheel and some people are going to go spinning, and we don't know where it's going to land because this turn one is a real feisty one. First of all, up front, Verstappen and Norris into turn one. Norris aggressively brakes up the inside to attempt to stop Verstappen from getting his nose up there. In so doing, manages to overcook the turn. Verstappen very easily gets past him. Russell then, who has already gotten past Piastri. Piastri actually has a pretty poor start. He is now fighting side by side with Lando down on the first straight, but Lando eventually ends up keeping the position. Meanwhile, in the back, we had a...
Does he? I thought Russell pulled.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, sorry. Russell at the start. Yeah, Russell gets him. Meanwhile, in the back, Bortoleto has a... How do I describe this? A Danny in the Formula One game online style overtaking move, who manages to smash into Lance Stroll, who hits Gasly. Gasly spins around. I believe Bortoleto and Stroll are out pretty much immediately. Lawson also hit Piastri on that turn, but they had a wheel-to-wheel tap, which luckily made it so that they both managed to get away from it, which was pretty lucky. And in the back, before any of this happens, we hear a couple of laps in that poor Kimi Antonelli is under investigation for a false start, and it ends up being one of the most interesting false starts I've ever seen because he didn't get on the power early. He just didn't have his foot on the brake enough, so it was just like, you know, you're in first gear and
A lurch.
it lurched forward beforehand.
Or it wasn't even. It was like just a slight roll.
I felt
just a little
bad
drift.
for
You
him
know when
on
like
this one.
the red light is coming off, and
Yeah.
so you start to lift your foot off of the brake, and you just little bit of it's minuscule. You can see it on the replay.
It took me and I think most people a couple of times on the replay to see it. That's how minimal it was. So yeah, you know, it's a sport of inches. I get it, but this one felt like it was a millimeter problem.
Yeah, well, he is handed a 5-second penalty, which he will carry throughout the race for reasons we will see. Lap 2, the damage that Lawson sustained in his collision with Piastri gets worse, his front wing scraping along the ground. Piastri gets by him into 6th, and Lawson has to limp back to the pits. And it's around this time that Antonelli also pits and trades his soft tires for hards. The penalty comes after that, so he wasn't able to serve it in the pits. Lap 5, Leclerc also making moves. He gets by Piastri with some late braking down the inside of turn 14 for 7th place. And by lap 12 has caught Piastri on the back straight and swoops around the outside as they brake into turn 14 for 6th place. And a lap later gets yet another position at the same spot, this time back on the inside of turn 14, passing Hadjar for 5th, up from his starting position of 9th in just... What is that, 7 laps? Or no,
12,
I'm sorry.
right?
That's lap 13. Yeah. The other Ferrari of Hamilton gets caught in an incident. On lap 14, he goes wide at turn 14, causing him to lose momentum and come under attack from Albon, who clips his own end plate of his front wing off when pulling out from Hamilton's slipstream.
Payback.
Earning himself a 5-second penalty. Not really, because it's Albon that
He
gets...
self-owns himself. He is attempting payback for both Interlagos and for Austria. But
I have never seen two drivers so incapable of racing each other.
This was particularly funny that he like smacked the back of his car and then ends up like damaging his own front wing. But yeah, rough one, rough weekend for both those boys.
Yeah. Also, another rough weekend. I think this is where we get another apparent miscommunication with the marshals.
Oh, yeah, we didn't talk about that. You're right.
Oh my God, there's like 12 of them on the track as cars are passing
I thought
them.
I was watching...
Like, there are double waved yellows, thankfully, but like, come on.
Yeah, there's all these like, AI-generated Sora videos of like crowds of people running into each other and turning into, mush and all that. That's what it looked like. I was like, why is there a baker's dozen worth of these people running towards the camera shot? Apparently there are other... their colleagues towards the pit lane were like screaming at them to like move earlier.
Yeah.
I don't know why they didn't move there earlier. It was very strange. I'm sure there'll be some sort of investigation into it, but they were waving yellows as a result. The lads on the I would think it was the final turn were furiously...
Or the first turn? Yeah.
So,
Oh, right. Was it the start of the... It was on the...
Like every flag they have.
Yeah.
I was wondering, like, there were some telemetry issues with the with the data display from F1 TV. There was Albon's radio communications going down. I do wonder if maybe it's a tough like radio communications environment, and maybe something got garbled.
Right.
That is my like, I don't know, but obviously you also tend to have protocols and these things where you do not say messages that if there's a slight bit of interference, you could easily, say yes when you mean no. So I don't know, but to me, because they were gonna put the VSC out and clear space to address this. It's just the marshals went out early.
Yeah, they eventually did call a VSC.
Immediately
would
after.
love to understand.
Yeah, so I think it was I think those marshals like were probably told, be ready for the VSC. We're going to create a gap. But what they heard was VSC gap, go clean it or something. That is my suspicion.
VSC.
That's
don't go.
Yeah.
Who knows?
In flying, you'll hear, if you ever like listen to the air traffic control, the air traffic control will tell a plane to prepare for departure. And like, this is the runway that you will depart. And they only say the word takeoff when they are cleared to actually do it.
Very good.
Yep.
Because if the pilots hear takeoff and they're like, oh, I heard takeoff, it's time for me to go, there can be mishaps.
Oh, that's interesting.
So maybe they need something like that.
Smart.
Well, because also I think if these guys were told they were going to create a gap, the way the field had shaken out, there was a gap. It's a long lap. Things had shaken out. There's a huge empty space. So I do wonder if they were like, oh, this must be it.
This is
it. So
that's why it seems so strange.
Unfortunate.
Because like,
fortunately,
thinking, like, they're all packed together. Sorry, Rob.
Well, no, I was just gonna say, like, fortunately, like, the turn is huge. There's a acre of runoff there, so there's plenty of space for the ducklings to run back to safety. But it was striking. The marshals just can't stop them. They just want to help.
They just want to help.
It's true.
We almost had the world's grimmest, game of elf bowling, though. If somebody spun out there, that was going to end badly. So thankfully, they didn't.
We do get a restart on lap 16. Piastri gets by Hadjar on the back straight for 6th. The car sparking a lot as he does so.
Ooh, check off
lap 23. Lap 23, Sainz pits to cover Piastri, which is a great sentence. He comes out, past Piastri's kind of all over him. He gets by with DRS into turn 5, and a few laps later, Leclerc pits and comes out ahead of Sainz, jumping him with pit strategy.
Yeah.
Lap 33, the pit stops have shaken out at the front of the field, leaving Antonelli conspicuously near the top in 4th. Remember, he pitted on lap 2. 2 or 3, apparently trying to take his hard tires to the end.
With the 5-second penalty yet to serve.
That's right, that little exclamation point on the timing
Yeah.
bar, reminding everyone. Meanwhile, ahead of Antonelli, Norris is chasing after Russell, who radios his team to say he'll try to defend, but is not going to do anything to jeopardize his podium. Don't worry, George. Sure enough, 1 lap later, Norris uses DRS on the back straight to pass him on the outside for second as they head down into the popular turn 14. So we assume that now Norris is going to go chase down Verstappen, and at this stage, he's about 5 seconds away from him. The other McLaren of Piastri is engaged in his own battle with Antonelli for 4th and has Leclerc right behind him. On lap 39, Piastri tries to go around the outside at turn 14, but Antonelli is late on the brakes and owns the corner. Piastri struggling for grip through the apex. What did you guys make of this move? I kind of thought like Antonelli's on these really old tires, and Piastri, it looked like sort of a half-hearted move. Like, man, you really gotta nail this. You are chasing your teammate for the championship, and this is kind of all you got.
Yeah, Piastri's. There was a nice little bit of driftage through that corner, which looked quite nice, but obviously ended up with Piastri losing out pace-wise to Leclerc behind him. It's been interesting, right? Because much like Rob was alluding to with Alexander Albon, the latter half of the season has not been very good for Piastri pace-wise. But he has struggled with overtaking. Like this is something we've witnessed now for at least a half dozen races, where whether or not he needs an extra lap or two to get the job done, or in the case like this race where he was just struggling to find the right moment to do it.
It's so funny because this is exactly what I would have thought about Norris. Like
very true.
5 races ago, right?
It's so to me, I think largely it's a pace issue, and then it's an issue of maybe being desperate, like needing to get it done early. But yeah, he just could not. Like some of the cars were able to just easily mop it up on that DRS straight. There's not 1,000 overtaking opportunities on this track, and I think the track conditions probably weren't helping. But yeah, he in particular was just. He was stuck. He just wasn't able to get it done. And it, we're talking a lot about the Verstappen-Norris situation because they're right at the top, and that's where most of the points are. But Piastri's meant to be in this fight too, but it's just getting away from him. It's been like this now for a while.
All right, well, that is most of the Grand Prix. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back with the conclusion and the aftermath of Las Vegas. All right, so we thought Norris was going to go chase down Verstappen, but he is now way off, 13 seconds behind.
What if the opposite happened? What if Verstappen started to chase Norris from a lap from behind, from front?
So Norris is apparently nursing a problem. Commentators are surmising fuel.
Yeah.
In the case of David Croft, or brakes in the case of Julian Palmer.
He was losing I was watching it live, 2.5 seconds a sector, maybe more. It was bizarre. People were like, "Oh, is he done? Like, is he just lifting and coasting, or is there something terminal happened here?" Because it was really it was 20 seconds down by the time it was done.
They do tell him to lift and coast.
Yeah.
And that's how the race ends. Max Verstappen taking the win with Norris behind him, and then George Russell, and behind Russell, Oscar Piastri.
Well, yes, because
that is not how
Antonelli came in 4th, but in a incredible Piastri's final run. Piastri should have got driver of the day. His final battle at the end of this race on those it was a warm set of hards he was on, right? It was insane, and he managed. I think he beat out Leclerc on once he had taken the 5-second penalty by like 1/10 of a second or something. He had Kimi had managed to do it, so he only lost 1 place. He only lost the place to Piastri, and Leclerc did fall off. Leclerc was struggling for the last 5 laps pretty badly because he was on Piastri's gearbox for after that overtaking sort of snafu. we alluded to a couple of laps earlier. But so Leclerc struggled, and Antonelli managed to pull it out on the hards, on a worn set of hards. It was really incredible drive, I think, by him.
Yes, well, he gets what he deserves, I think, from his drive. Antonelli does, because he gets elevated to the podium with 2 McLaren disqualifications for plank wear. Yes,
I wanted to say that while that is the biggest story of the race weekend, the biggest moment of the race weekend happened with Terry Crews, the true driver of the day. Did you guys see this? So
I went straight to bed.
So you went straight to bed. I needed something. I needed I was looking for that copium. So remember before when they put them all in like the world's most awkward limousine and they drove them down to the Bellagio to do the interviews? This time, Terry Crews turns up in a Simpsons Lego car. And the 3 of them get in the back of a pink topless, like convertible version of Homer Simpson's car. He drives them. He's driving this car.
Are we in Fortnite?
100%.
What is happening?
He is great because he loves them. He's an F1 fan, so he's like chatting to them. He starts singing 1,000 Miles like he did in that one movie when he was behind the car. It's bizarre. And then, what's this guy's name? What's the Aussie guy who's in Avatar? You know, the guy who's only ever been in Avatar, the movie. He plays
Sam
Worthington. So they have DC and Sam Worthington interview the drivers. Sam Worthington is the most +1 person who's ever been on an interview. I believe at one stage he says, making Avatar 2 is hard, but what you do is really difficult. It was like
Rob just had to remove his glasses to rub his face.
This like 10 minutes was justified me watching this race and being on the Discord.
Fuck, I should have stayed up.
So
this sounds
bizarre.
so fucking good. Oh my god. I cannot believe.
Oh my god, it was bizarre. And the body language from the 3 drivers was incredible because of course it was Lando was there with Max, and it was. And then at the end they had like Mickey Mouse conducting the Bellagio.
Sure.
What do you call them? The fountains,
Whatever
they are.
Yep.
Which I later saw YouTube
because Disney F1 the partnership bullshit.
That's what they were doing. It was Disney X F1, or they've released some clothing, which I thought was really funny because ESPN are losing F1 next year. But whatever. So they did that. I subsequently, and I can't tell if this is true, saw a video from somebody who was staying across the road from the Bellagio watching it live and then recording outside, and none of that was happening with Mickey. I don't know if they were watching later and they were just doing a bit, but the whole thing was just completely it was like midnight or something and I was just having a fever dream. It was really strange. Yeah. Shout out to Terry Crews, driver of the day. Driver of the day.
I feel like at this point, they just bring Alan Partridge on to like host these interviews. So like let's just move on. Like, stop trying to just like hope cringe happens organically and just go and like book it yourself.
Own the cringe. Oh my lord.
Also, if it's you can't do a convertible Simpsons car. If you remove the roof, it's no longer Homer's car. It's just not. It's not Homer's car.
And it's Lego. So it was. Also, why is it Homer's car? Why is it Homer's car? Why is the Simpsons involved in this?
All right. Well, let me run down the finishing order here, and then we can get to that disqualification. Max Verstappen wins the race. George Russell elevated to second, and Kimi Antonelli elevated to third. From 17th place, gets third. Then we've got Charles Leclerc in fourth, Carlos Sainz coming home fifth, Isaac Hadjar sixth, Hülkenberg in seventh, Hamilton eighth, himself up from 19th?
The only way is up.
Yeah. Yeah. Esteban Ocon 9th and Oliver Behrman 10th.
I should mention, actually, I forgot to say that on lap 1. Hamilton got a lot of... he came out of that crash maybe better than anyone. The 2 incidents that happened on turn 1. I think he made up like 6 places by the time they got to turn 3 or something, 6 or 7 places.
Just slaloming through spun cars.
Lucky boy kind of just was able to get around them all.
Fernando Alonso in 11th, followed by Tsunoda, Gasly, Lawson, Colapinto in 15th, then the DNFs of Albon, Bortoleto, and Stroll, and the DSQs of Norris and Piastri, having finished in 2nd and 4th, respectively. So, let's talk about the disqualification. After the race, the FIA measures the wear of the skid plate under the cars. This rule is there because they don't want the cars bottoming out for reasons of driver health. But also, if your car is set too low, like the ride height too low, that will result in the car bottoming out, and would also give you a sporting advantage because the lower you can put your car, the better the suction to the track the diffuser.
It is a little bit funny to me. I get it, but it's also a little bit funny that even in the ground effect era they care about this, because isn't that like how the cars sort of work at the moment? But
well, right, but you got to be within a certain range, right? Otherwise, with the porpoising, which McLaren did say that they were experiencing a lot.
You could see it in some of the cars this weekend for sure.
It's a lot of bouncing, and it doesn't feel good when your car hits the ground like that. And drivers have had back problems. I remember Kimi Räikkönen in particular.
Hamilton too.
That's what happened. They measured it once, the FIA did, and then they measured it again, and it was actually even more worn the second time they measured it.
Well, why did they measure it wrong the first time? Why did it get more worn? Was this?
I'm not sure. Maybe they measured more places. I don't know. Tiny amount of wear, it seems, but even tinier than the font that says "Don't drink and drive" on the Moe and Shandong.
Yes, Heineken 0.0 is already taking the mic, but because it's like Heineken and then 0.0.
Right.
But the Moe and Shandong
0.0 font size, I think. I watched it in 4K, and I think that's maybe the only way you'd be able to read that.
I was thinking they should have like a big Marlboro, but like above it says "Don't smoke," but you can't see it. Yeah. Ridiculous.
Anyway. All right. Anything else to say about that? I mean, it really here. I'll just run down it right here. The drivers' championship standings have narrowed considerably because Verstappen got all them points.
This is the issue,
and
was like,
and McLaren got none.
The Verstappen as a title contender has been a kind of a bit of a fever dream, because what it really required was a DNF from Lando and arguably Piastri as well at some stage, but definitely Lando, to close that gap. So the idea of it happening is Lando's going to be careful these last couple of races. It's not going to happen.
And he drove a great race.
He did, and he drove I don't think he was overly aggressive. I think he knows what he's doing now, right? He doesn't need to battle that hard. But we are now entering the twilight zone. Like this is crazy, because for both of them, it's worth mentioning this happened quite a while after the race. So after the podiums, after everything, most people who watched it in the States had gone to bed. I woke up the next morning and had like 15 ats on social media and was just like, oh my God. Like, this is the one thing they didn't want to happen. This is an absolute nightmare, worst case scenario for McLaren at this stage in the championship going into these two races. Lando particularly not good at the next one, and Piastri is decent at it, but Verstappen has won the championship at Losail. So this is absolutely crazy. And like you said, mathematically, I think he's tied with Piastri at the moment, right?
He is.
Wild.
So Lando Norris has 390 points, which is 24 points ahead of both Piastri and Verstappen. So we have not only 2 more races that each can provide 25 points to the winner, but also a sprint, which is another 8 points. So it is all to play for here. In fourth, 72 points back, so not really part of this conversation, is George Russell. Then we've got Charles Leclerc in fifth, 68-point gap to Russell. Then 74 points back is Lewis Hamilton. 15 points back from there is Kimi Antonelli. That's not unheard of. 64 points back is Alex Albon, and then 22 points back, moving up a place in the championship, is Isaac Hadjar. Then in 10th, 2 points away, is Nico Hulkenberg, 1 point ahead of Carlos Sainz, who himself also moves up 2 positions to 11th. Oliver Behrman is 12th, 7 points back from Sainz, and Fernando Alonso just 1 point back from Behrman in 13th. Then we've got Lawson in 14th, Esteban Ocon in 15th, tied with Lance Stroll. Yuki Tsunoda is 17th, followed by Gasly, Bortoleto, Colapinto, and Doohan. In the Constructors' Championship, also some moving around. McLaren still, of course, has secured the Constructors' Championship. And, though they have that and the cash bonus that comes with it, they still would really, really love their driver. The driver is the one that has the most, cultural cachet. So this is not, it's not that they are ambivalent about one of their drivers winning. They really, really want one of their drivers to win. Mercedes is in second, 40 points ahead of Red Bull. Ferrari is in fourth, just 13 points back from Red Bull. Williams has a solid 5th place. Racing Bulls is in 6th. Gene Haas and team move up 1 spot to 7th place. They are now 1 point ahead of Aston Martin. Ooh. Sauber is in 9th, and Alpine in 10th.
Man, oh man. We're saying, I hope, if nothing else, I hope the last 3 races are, something interesting happens in the championship. Yeah, because Vegas was a snooze fest. You think
so? I thought
we were interested in what the Discord was interested in what the forum book was going to say, because there were some incidents for sure, but the latter half of that race, it was a procession. There was nothing going on, and
the first half was really action packed. The latter half was pretty dull. But the first half, I was taking notes every lap. So much stuff was happening. A lot of it because the Bortoleto, see a gap. I'm a race driver. I gotta go for it.
You think it was channeling Senna when he did that?
Up. Oh, absolutely. It's there. They left the door open. I have to. I'm compelled. So
they left the door open 300 meters down there just for me. Yeah. I went back and forth on what I was going to rate this. I think rating it a strategy race would have been disingenuous because I think there was more going on, as Rob said, kind of lap to lap. So I rated it a 3.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right.
For entertaining.
Maybe it was something about being up that late. Maybe it was also the poor UK crowd. So that's the other problem.
It got less interesting because you're tie.
Yeah, and the poor GMT folks, it was 4 o'clock when that race started. The 2 hours that they brought it earlier was not beneficial to the European crowd. I was suggesting they do this like Ramadan, and they just every year they just shave off 2 hours. You know what I mean? Just keep going. We'll have a breakfast race one of these days.
All right. Well, before we get to Qatar, we got a couple of news stories here. Rob, hit us.
So it seems that Aston Martin have confirmed, I think, that their team principal, Andy Cowell, is going to be replaced.
Oh, all right.
The word is, since Adrian Newey showed up, him and Cowell have not really... it doesn't sound like it's particularly acrimonious, but it is not just too many cooks in the kitchen, but also possibly 2 different types of cook, different preferences for how they want to develop the org. But so Cowell is being retained by Aston, but being moved elsewhere within the organization. Basically moved out of operational racing and
to the archives.
Yeah, that sort of a bit the implication. Now, apparently the front runner is Christian Horner. He is on a short list with Andreas Seidel, who we remember, stepped down from McLaren
Yes.
not so long ago, and Mattia Binotto.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Now,
Fresh off the vineyard.
but I do wonder, are these names just popping up on a short list so you'd say you have names on a short list? I haven't heard anything that indicates Binotto is eager to leave the Audi project. And he's got a pretty good position there. So I don't know that he would want to do it. Although again, possibly Adrian Newey is enough of a chance to work with him. But the way the race is talking about this, and again, the best reporters from Autosport 3 years ago all moved to the race. They're talking about it on that website as if it's almost a done deal. And
for who?
Horner.
Wow.
Now, there are incentives in the media landscape to talk about something as if it's going to happen, so that you can opine about bringing in Horner. So there are a lot of reasons that an operation like the race might overstate the certainty of this. Yeah. But I tend to believe the sources these guys are in touch with. It's an interesting thought because, one, it reunites Newey and Horner, which I think we've joked about. Did Newey want that partnership to end?
That's what I was thinking.
Right.
Isn't this sort of It Follows style? Horner just won't let Newey alone. Sometimes it takes him a while, but eventually he catches up with him.
Oh man.
So, yeah, I don't know. For me, if I'm Lawrence Stroll,
right,
you broke the bank to bring in Adrian Newey. So my assumption is anything that happens has Newey's sign off. That would be my assumption, but sometimes companies and extremely rich people don't really act coherently, right? You're thinking about Otmar Safnauer's time at Alpine. Why would you just completely, why would you tell him one thing about how the organization's set up and not deliver on any of it? Why would you retain, why would you not give him a legal department that can, sign Oscar? All sorts of things that, why would you be so counterproductive? So this could be, a really bad acquisition strategy, right? Where I can have Newey and Horner? Hell with it. Those are both names I know. I will get both. But my assumption would be anything that happens, Newey has basically signed off on. So I don't know where that leaves us. I think there's clearly, given the allegations against Horner and the texts that were leaked, I think there's a lot of good reasons to hesitate before putting this guy in a leadership role. The flip side is him and Newey is probably the most successful team principal engineer combo, in modern F1 history. Yeah. So I can see the desire to put that band together, but things have a time and place. These are not the same guys that stood up that turned Jaguar into Red Bull and made it a powerhouse. Things have shifted. The sport has shifted. So I don't know. If this is who Newey basically is picked to run the team, that's a huge vote of confidence. But I'm kind of surprised that they'd go in this direction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder if this is
fascinating to see.
Yeah, I wonder if we'll know sooner rather than later, just because it is a little bit crunch time. There's not that much time between the start of next season and now, so you'd suspect so.
Oh man, and then the Stroll of it all.
You think Lance is quaking?
I think this is also the thing, the bit that is a little bit this is like the end of Tar, right?
I've not seen Tar, but let's do it.
A disgraced conductor. It was like the height of the height of power in the classical music world. At the end is like still performing, but like in a like completely debased setting. Basically, is moving on to. I think the movie literally ends with them doing video game music concerts.
Oh, funny. Oh, that's funny.
But the so like Christian Horner, your punishment, you were sentenced to team principal Lawrence Stroll's vanity project / gift to his son, who you can never fire. Good luck. Oh, and your other driver is Fernando Alonso.
Yeah.
And I wonder if like there's even you actually answer to Adrian Newey.
Yeah. This is your monkey paw life now. Enjoy it.
That, and honestly, that's actually shit. Now you might have sold me on it. Because then it's
Purgatory.
like just take your hands off the development stuff. You were clearly not doing it well at Red Bull these final years.
Yeah.
This is Newey's shop. He's
And all
going
of
to
our
run
employees.
it.
Yes.
But you ran a very good racing team on the operational side of things. Like that team was buttoned up tight for a number of years. Focus on that.
Yeah, you're right. Because
And
that's
also
the first
give me
thing
your
they
phone.
did, right? What'd you say?
And also give me your phone.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, delete WhatsApp. Come on, man.
Can
all
I
right,
get a
and one
personal
more
assistant?
here.
No, you cannot.
Wipe your own ass, Christian.
Can have an AI assistant.
We have a pool. We have a pool of admins. You can tell us what you need. Because this is the other thing though about like a guy in Horner's position. Allegations like this, the organization now has to go to a lot of effort to sort of protect other people and this guy from himself. If these allegations like have merit, it certainly seemed like there was fire behind all that smoke. So that becomes another issue where it's just never going to be as efficient as it was. Like this guy's sort of natural style now has to have this like an army of minders around it. It has to be channeled through different methods because like that trust doesn't exist.
Yeah, it's hard to.
So yeah, it's
like a hit to your charisma stats when you've got that hanging over you for the rest of your life. Like, and that's an important part of being a leader, I think. So yeah, he's definitely, hobbled in that regard, and rightfully so.
Yeah. The other bit of news, speaking of people coming back, Mick Schumacher coming back to racing. Just signed a contract with Rahal Letterman Lanigan Racing Team.
Oh yeah,
for
Fantastic.
IndyCar.
He's even out of cars this open wheel this long. That's wild. Poor Mick Schumacher.
I thought he'd been driving
did some sports
somewhere
cars or
else. I don't know. I haven't
endurance. Yeah.
consulted the Wikipedia, but yeah, that's exciting. I would love to see him do well over in Indy,
Yeah.
and I think he will.
Yeah, I'd like to see him do
Especially
well just
with
about anywhere.
RLL. Yeah. Cool. Is that it for news, Rob?
Yep, that covers it.
All right, Danny, take us to Qatar.
Sail! Ooh. We're heading back, folks, to the LaSalle International Circuit, where we started here back in 2021. We've had some races here. We also didn't have a race, you might remember, in 2022. They were like, here's a new track. Woo, check it out. Oh, we're not doing it this year because the World Cup's on. Sorry. They built this track, though, donkeys years ago, some might say, back in 2004 for MotoGP. And you can tell, if you look at a track map of this track,
It's the one that looks like Ditto.
it does. It's the one that looks like Ditto. You're right. Yeah, it's got a lot of sweepy corners, multi-apex turns. It's a MotoGP track. They built a MotoGP track, and then they added it to the F1, and they said, you know what? We like night races. We'll do a fourth one.
It looks like you took a bunch of circuits and like literally like in Adobe Illustrator, just cut them in half and then like put all of the edges together around in a circle so that they all made some contiguous
Yeah,
shape.
it's as if somebody they had a bet that they had to have as many different types of apexes as possible, like different radiuses of apexes, but they ran out of different pieces because like Sector 2 is just a nightmare of like, it's the most MotoGP part of the track, but then like turns 4 and 5 are identical. Turns 12, 13, and 14 are identical. They're all just like pieces locked together. So it's a strange sort of track. I don't know if it's as flowy. I'm surely it's not in F1 as it is in MotoGP, but it's got 16 turns on it. It's a long enough lap too. It's 57 laps in F1, 5.42 kilometers, 3.37 miles. And like I said, fourth night race of the year after Singapore, Bahrain, and Sakir. So this part of the world, obviously, they're doing a lot of night races because of how hot it is, even this time of the year. There's only one straight on it, really. There's a couple of parts where the track isn't turning, but essentially the only straight they have is the start-finish straight, which is a kilometer long. So it really is. Turn 1 is sort of where all the action was in previous years. I went back and watched a bunch of the highlights. The DRS detection zone is also incredibly early. It's after turn 15, which is the penultimate corner. It's a bit of it's one of these tracks where the DRS is so strong there, and there's so little places to overtake that you tend to get most of them there.
It's way before the penultimate corner. It's after the one before the penultimate
Isn't
corner.
penultimate the one before the last?
Oh, you're right. It's right. It's directly after the penultimate corner.
It's
way before the ultimate corner.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, it's quite early. And last year we did have a lot of incidents here. We had Russell, Verstappen, and Lando having a great battle into turn 1. Not unlike Vegas, I guess, in some respect. Piastri did well here, though. Oh, we also had a bunch of incidents here with Stroll and Hulkenberg, but went out. There's a big runoff area to the left of turn 1. It's like a lot of the European races. We had a lot of incidents on the first lap here last year. Piastri won the sprints in both 2004 and 2003. So the two times they've done sprints here, we're third time running here. Piastri won them. Verstappen won the championship here in 2023. He also won the race in 24, but he had already clinched the championship last year by the time we got to Losail. It's a funny old beast. It's one that it's the one I have the least familiarity with, because just by virtue of the fact that this is the fourth time we've raced here. And we've obviously had a decent, it sort of happened, it's been a race that has been so late in the championship that it hasn't really mattered that much, and there hasn't been much sort of shoulder to shoulder racing here. But yeah, just from a what to look out for perspective, it's turn 1. I guess what I'll say about turn 1 is what it reminds me is like Hungary, where it's wide and it's not as sharp an apex as a lot of turn 1s. So you can kind of carry medium speed into it. And that's why we had incidents. That's why we have overtakes there, because you can take a different line and power through and get them into turn 2, which is, again, another relatively high speed, I'd say a low mid-speed turn that's on the opposite apex, so you can get the sort of the sweep around and cut. So turn 1 is wide and it's long and it doesn't have a sharp apex, which means it's very inviting. It's not like a braking zone overtake. It's not a just hang the apex and do it. It's definitely a corner that has interesting and aesthetically pleasing overtaking opportunities.
Well, I've rated this from 2021 a 3, a 4, and a 4. Last year, I have here the note: wing mirror lying on front straight, no safety car.
Yes.
Bottas hits it. Hamilton and Sainz get punctures. Yeah. Then we get a safety car. A bunch of other people go out from other stuff. 3x safety car.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, they did not clear that, and then it just got like completely shredded by Bottas, and lots of punctures for everyone. It was a beauty. It was a beauty.
As you mentioned, Danny, Max Verstappen has won it twice, Lewis Hamilton once. And a lot of sort of boom and bust here in my own statistics. It's one of Max Verstappen's best tracks statistically. Again, we only have a handful of finishes here from each, but such are the numbers. Also good for Oscar Piastri, George Russell, Esteban Ocon, and Lance Stroll. Not so great for Lewis Hamilton, despite him winning. He also had a DNF. Lando Norris statistically has not done well here, nor has Alex Albon or Liam Lawson. Team-wise, this is one of Red Bull's better tracks. Mercedes also does well, and so does Alpine and Aston Martin. It's part of their better tracks. Ferrari, it's in their bottom 5 tracks, along with Williams and Haas. So, yeah, we have a DNF rate of 15%, an average of 2.3 DNFs per race.
The numbers are partially skewed because of the wing mirror that was left out on the start-finish straight last year. It's funny that Red Bull did have a good stats here, because last year was this race that Perez just pirouetted on his own in the middle of the race. Here he just did a little spin and then lost like 5 places, 6 places.
Weather-wise, we are looking at, for qualifying, sprint qualifying time, looks to be mid-70s or low 20s Celsius. 0 precipitation across the entire weekend. And let's see, sprint qualifying, just 7 miles an hour or 14 kilometers an hour of wind. For the sprint itself, we're looking at a little higher temperatures, almost 80 Fahrenheit or 28 Celsius, and a little stronger wind at sprint time, 10 miles an hour or 16 kilometers an hour. And then things cool off and slow down for qualifying at 9 p.m. local. But the race, everyone, what is this local time? 7 p.m. local. We're looking at 24 Celsius or 76 Fahrenheit. With 4 miles an hour wind or 6 kilometers an hour. So nice and warm and low wind, but, a chance of low grip regardless. So look out for that.
Anything can and might happen, to
that's right.
the words of Mary Walker.
We went over the drivers and team standings already, but if you'd like to join the standings yourself, you can do so using the link in the show notes to join our official Shift+F1 Fantasy League. Here are the podium from Fantasy in Las Vegas. In third, Steiner Hugs Hard. Okay. In second, Heretics.
Wow.
And in first, Nico 1.
The first of Nico's teams.
That's right. In overall standings, however, the podium looks like this. In third, Scuderia Portaquito. In second, F1 Banned My Team Name. And in first, trading back and forth as we go, The Fast of Us 2025.
It was nice to get some new names on the winners. These are the ne'er-be-wells, the diehards who go into fantasy every weekend without a McLaren, which is really that's true. That's strong.
Wow.
That shows a backbone.
Bold.
Yeah. Fair play.
You can send us an email if you like, shiftf1podcast@gmail.com or f1.cool/emails. You can also hit us up on the socials and on Patreon. That is us around the world. I mean, the internet. Do you want to take us around the world?
Around the internet. Yeah, I'm in the world.
Oh, yeah. Watch out for those potholes. The World Rally Championship is in Saudi Arabia for the Jeddah Rally. We've got the Repco Supercars in Adelaide for the Adelaide Grand Final.
Here in Adelaide, we love, making Avatar 3 was hard, but here in Adelaide, we rise to the occasion, much like you and your Formula 1 cars. That's a terrible accent.
Man, your Australian accent is better than mine. I need to watch more Deadlock. Formula 2 will be
around the
supporting.
twist. That a childhood watching Around the Twist. I don't think Americans had that, but you should. That's good time. It's a good time.
Okay. Formula 2 supporting Formula 1 this weekend in LaSalle. And Formula 1, maybe you've heard of it. It's a sprint weekend, everyone. So things kick off Friday, November 28th with free practice 1 at 8:30 a.m. Eastern time on ESPNU, followed by sprint qualifying at 12:30 p.m. Eastern on ESPN News. Then we've got Saturday, November 23rd, the sprint at 9 a.m. Eastern on ESPN2, followed by race qualifying at 1 p.m. Eastern on ESPN News. But the race, everyone, Sunday, November 30th at 11 a.m. Eastern on ESPN2, The Deuce. And that's what's going on this weekend. Danny, what happened on this day in the past?
In the past, November 26th, in the past, the doomed Jaguar F1 team was in the news today in 2002 when Niki Lauda was sacked as team principal. He was the fourth team boss since January 2000, but little progress had been made under the Austrian's direction. Richard Parry-Jones, head of Ford's Formula One program, tried to deny the move was a sacking. He said, "I would not agree that Niki has failed in any way. The most important thing in Formula One is technical depth, and Niki Lauda, for whom I have enormous respect, does not have it. There was no criticism of the way I work or whatever," Lauda told Austrian radio. "But what you've got to know is that in England, things work differently. Britons do have their own unique way of solving problems. They saw a way at the legs of a chair. I am neither an engineer nor an Englishman, and that's why it's easy for me to accept being replaced." They saw away the legs of the chair. Is this like an Austrian idiom that they threw in here without context? Or is that one I don't know? They saw away the legs of the chair.
I've heard cutting your own parachute.
Okay.
But yeah.
Poor Niki.
See,
doesn't have technical depth.
Before we just had the picture of the guy sticking the stick in the spokes of his bike. You had to come up with lots of. We had metaphor.
You're right.
In those days,
we painted pictures
we had
with
metaphor.
words.
Yeah, and so instead, they got the most British person. We need. Can you find me someone who has a Land Rover Defender
Yes, and is married to a Spice Girl? And a sex pest, allegedly.
Right.
That would be great.
Right.
Could we get all the three English things, I guess? Sorry.
I saw a thing recently that if you want to say Spice Girls in a Scottish accent, you say Space Ghettos.
Space Ghettos. Oh, that's really good. That's really good. Space Ghettos. Space Ghettos. Space Ghettos. Yeah. That's beautiful. That's good. We used to say, if you wanted to sound posh, like a royal person in an English accent, you say ears, and that's yes. Right. If you want to say yes, it's like
unless you're married.
Yes, of course, yeah. God, I've done this. See, I've just got this. I'm playing the hits, Drew. It was 10 years, 12 years ago. I've just got like the small repertoire of stories. That's the problem.
If you want to say razor blades in Australian, you say rise up lights.
Rise up lights. Rise up lights. Rise up lights. Rise up lights. Avatar 3 is over. Turn the lights back on the cinema. Rise up lights.
So over is this podcast. All right, final thoughts ahead of Qatar, Danny.
Anything can and will happen. It happened. I did not have a great Las Vegas Grand Prix viewing experience. Everything that happened, from Terry Crews to the skid plates, happened after the checkered flag. All the good stuff. Sam Worthington, it was a great time. I am so excited for the next two races now. It happened. The thing we wanted to happen, unless you're a McLaren or Lando fan, happened. And it's like, it's still, let's be honest, it's still a mountain. It's still a large chunk of points to exist for the last two races. Usually when we're having title fights, we're talking about under 10 between the two of them. It's a significant amount. But the problem is the direction of travel for both these teams has been in opposite directions. And McLaren are struggling, and Red Bull have found the pace, and the impossible has happened. And it's going to make for a great last two races. Unless Verstappen DQs. And they mop up a ton of points. This is going to the last race, whether you like it or not. It might require a DQ in the last race, but yeah, there's so much that can happen this weekend because it's a sprint as well. There's so many points on offer. So yeah, I'm going to be glued to the television.
Final thoughts, Rob?
The only thing that could have brought Verstappen into this has happened. This is it is the threat window, and some of Norris's the disqualification overshadows the fact that yet again he blew the start. And
Norris,
and so I think Max is so consistent, and McLaren as a team and as drivers are proving to not be consistent as this pressure ratchets up. It makes for a really interesting clash because it totally feels like McLaren is on the defensive. And that at this point, it really is a playing not to lose kind of thing, which is a dangerous place to be. But as you point out, Danny, he just needs to bring it home and not get DQ'd. That's all that all he needs to do is just not give up too many points and bring it home. But we'll see.
I have a question for you guys. Do you think if McLaren fumbles the Drivers' Championship, that it is going to be like the constructors' win this year is just going to be like salt in their mouth? Do you think this would be one of the most embarrassing failures to secure a championship in
I think it'll be
modern
treated
F1?
that way. Because I think, again, we're talking about incentives of media. We love to Monday morning quarterback. We'd love to talk about how could those fools not have done the evident this week. So many sites published articles about maybe McLaren should just tell Oscar the title fight is over and throw everything behind Norris, as if that would have made a difference this week. It had nothing to do with it. The favoritism or inability to input team orders is not why they're giving up ground. The drivers haven't been close enough to each other to interfere with each other's races or help each other's races.
Yeah.
So, but there is this notion that McLaren had its chance to sew up the title, and if they do this, they're going to be fools. And I think that sucks because it creates an incentive for team principals to the smartest thing you can do self-interestedly is do what Ferrari did throughout the 90s and early 2000s, and just treat your drivers like pawns on the chessboard. That is boring. It is a boring version of the sport, and I think it's really shitty that so much of the F1 commentariat leans in on this efficiency-minded, we should just optimize for the system, as if that hasn't produced some of this boring stuff in F1. So I think they will get dragged. I think they will be roundly mocked, and it will be regarded as an incredible bag fumbling. But ultimately, this is the sort of thing that happens because at a certain point, it's up to the drivers on the track. The disqualification is on McLaren. The team has made mistakes this year. There have been some bum pit stops,
and strategy.
The issues here have also been in the cockpit.
Yeah. I'm so happy we are in this situation. It's going to be really exciting to watch, and I can't wait for the next 2 1/3 races. So if you would like to support the show and get access to all of our bonus episodes, the early ad-free version of the podcast, and the official Shift F1 Discord, you can do so over at patreon.com/ShiftF1. Have a great waste weekend, everyone. We will see you all next week.
The hell?